All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders, great millstone, and peace, love, and salutation to all you Akim that's pushing this truth and true sincerity. And I want to get into this Easter celebration, okay, that these people today on Sunday, April 20th, are engaged in, namely these Christians who say they believe in the Messiah, but their actions prove otherwise. Really, they're in a Queen of Heaven worship spirit. And now, this is just a skillful added lesson to the brother Thamayim of the GMS Atlanta Church, the GMS Zionist Nearby Camp, when he stepped in yesterday and went into the origins of Easter. All right. And as I mentioned, this is nothing but a Queen of Heaven worshiping of women. Where do we live at in America, where they promote feminism and uplifting the women? So this is nothing but another day to uplift the woman, when the scriptures say that the woman is the weaker vessel, and in 1 Corinthians 11 that the head of a woman is the man. So I'm gonna start off in Psalms 96 and 5, and you can read this while I'm doing this lesson. It says, "For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord's name is Yahweh, made the heavens." Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai made the heavens, man. So you're looking at who is Easter. She is Gaia, Astaroth, Ishtar, Artemis, Venus, Aphrodite, Semiramis, Nature, Great Mother. That way you watch the news as far as the forecast. Mother Nature. Frigga. You can't see it down there, but it's a Frigga, Frigga. Libertas, that's where you get the Statue of Liberty from. Esther, Durga, Hathor, Queen of Heaven. And these are nothing but gods of the other nations that have been recycled through different, how do I say this? Through different rulerships of the heathen. All right. Let's get Ecclesiastes 1 and 9, because Gaia, Astaroth, Ishtar, and I'm gonna get into a precept about a particular deity, Queen of Heaven deity that's in the Bible. All right, Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be done, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. These fake gods have been recycled through different periods of time of rulership of the heathen. All right, now let's get into it. As far as now you see on the left hand side of the screen, you see Astarte, the goddess of fertility. Okay, and then you see on the right hand side Diana of Artemis, which is another god. All right, in the Greek time, a goddess of fertility. There's no new thing under the sun when you really look it up. And you got our people. I just took a walk today. Golden Corral's already full. Hey, by the time these people get out of that church service, they're going to be stuffing themselves with honey baked ham, foods that God said don't eat, shrimp cocktails. Matter of fact, let's get that Amos 5 right quick. Because the Most High is not pleased with your Easter. Amos chapter 5 and verse 21. I despise your feast days. Now the God of the Bible has feast days and what? Let me look it up. Leviticus, I believe it's Leviticus, the 16th chapter. Give me one sec. Leviticus 23, I might be mistaken, excuse me. Yes. When you go to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, it'll give you God's feast days, his high holy days, his solemn assemblies, not bunnies laying eggs. Okay, not going to D&K and getting you 2 Steve Harvey suits, 2 for $250. I know over there off of Memorial Drive, all right, on the east side of Atlanta, They probably made buku money yesterday. And guess what? The church is making plenty of money today. All right. The church is the original trap house. Okay. These so-called white churches, these so-called black churches, These so-called Brazilian churches, these so-called Mexican churches are making money today. It's a payday for your pastor. They're not giving you prophecy, and they're not giving the origins of these pagan holidays. So when you go to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, it'll give you the high holy days that he gave the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. What you want to do? You want to believe that bunnies lay eggs. Believing in cunningly devised fables. When you go to fables, it means falsehoods. Y'all too old to believe in bunnies laying eggs, man. That's why you can't take our people seriously. When I see Negroes, the Hispanics, and Native Americans, I can't take them seriously. And I can't take Esau seriously as well. Because we live in the valley of shadow of death. Amos 5 and verses 21 once again. The guy said he hates, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. You trying to make that that glazed honey baked ham? He ain't hearing your prayers. Though you offer me burnt offerings, you offering burnt offerings to other gods on this day, and your meat offerings, I will not accept them. You're getting rejected. Neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. All right. So let's get into Diana. I don't want to make this too long. I believe it's in Acts, the 19th chapter. Okay. You got Ishtar on the left, Diana on the right. And guess what? When Paul had to preach to the Gentiles, he had to preach to the Israelites that had a Gentile state of mind. Because guess what? On the right-hand side, you see the statue of Diana with all these, how do I say this? All these breasts on her. Okay. These were Israelites were worshiping during the time of Paul at Ephesus. Let's get into it. All right, Acts the 19th chapter. Bear with me for a sec. Acts 19 and verses, let's get to the point. Now, there was a riot at Ephesus, all right? That's what the book of Ephesians was written to, the Israelites, the saints that are at Ephesus. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that up. There we go. Ephesians 1:1. Paul, an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach by the will of the Most High, to the saints. Who are the saints? The Israelites. Psalms 50 and 5, Psalms 148 and 14, which are at Ephesus. And to the faithful in Yahushua HaMashiach, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So at Ephesus, this is who this was addressed to. The saints at Ephesus, Ephesians. Now, when you go to Acts 19, there was a situation that happened at Ephesus with the Apostle Paul. So Acts 19 and verses 23. And the same time there arose no small stir about that way, for a certain man named Demetrius, a silversmith, which made silver shrines for Diana, brought no small gain unto the craftsmen, whom we called together with the workmen of like occupation, and said, Sirs, ye know that by this craft we have our wealth. Yeah, they were making these shrines to Diana, and they were getting paid. Moreover, you see and hear that not alone at Ephesus, but almost throughout all Asia, that Paul had persuaded and turned away much people, saying that they be no gods which are made with hands. And that's what Exodus 20 reiterates. It says, verse 27, so that not only this our craft is in danger to be set at naught, but also that the temple of the great god Diana should be despised, and her magnificence should be destroyed, whom all Asia and the world worshipeth. Yeah, Israelites were worshiping the goddess Diana. Okay, so let's get Diana in the blue letter. And the Israelites were worshiping this statue that had all these breasts on it, man. Guess what? They're worshiping Jesus today. He's risen. How's it? This is the logic of a Christian, right? They Good Friday, the day Jesus got crucified, right? He is risen on the third day. That's not 3 days. 3 days will be Friday to Monday. See, Christians mathematically don't even make sense at all as well. And they don't go into the blue letter. They starting to, but that's on, they ain't gonna get it. Let's get Diana, what should be Artemis in the blue letter. Just bear with me for a sec. As you can see, Ishtar is synonymous, with Artemis. All right, let me let Esau play it. Let me let Esau say it, excuse me.
Strong's G, 735, Artemis. Artemis.
Artemis is the Greek word for Diana. It says Artemis, that is to say the so-called Tauric or Persian or Ephesian Artemis, the goddess of many Asiatic people. Yeah, the god of Asia Minor. And Paul came preaching Yahweh Shai, and when you read later on in the chapter, hey, they got into a tussle with Paul, man. Because these silversmiths are saying, hey, man, I'm losing money off this guy Paul, man. So continue on, it says the goddess of many Asiatic people, to be distinguished from the Artemis of the Greeks, the sister of Apollo. A very splendid temple was built to her at Ephesus, which was set on fire by Herostratus and reduced to ashes. But afterwards, in the time of Alexander the Greek, it was rebuilt in a style of greater magnificence. So you had Israelites that were in this idol worship, man. All right, they were in that Queen of Heaven worship spirit. And I'm gonna just get one more. This day is nothing but a day of women worship, man. Queen of Heaven worship. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to Acts 12. Because it does say Easter in the Bible, and I'm not gonna show you on the screen, but look it up for yourself. Because this message, we've been telling people, hey, Easter, yeah, it's in the Bible, but when you look it up, it's something totally different. It's one of the feast days that God commanded you to keep for you Israelites, you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and Leviticus the 23rd chapter, which is the Passover. So let's get it. Acts 12:1. Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church. Herod the Idumean, the Edomite. And he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. So this would give you an indication that the Israelites were in the time of the Passover. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Now in the NLT it says, then he imprisoned him, all right, the Apostle Peter. Then he imprisoned him, placing him under the guard of 4 squads of 4 soldiers each. Herod intended to bring Peter out for public trial after the Passover. So it says it in the NLT. Now when you go to the blue letter for the KJV, it'll have this. Now when you look up Easter, it'll say this in the Greek.
Strong's G, 3957. Pascha. Pascha.
It says Pascha. The Paschal sacrifice which was accustomed to be offered for the people's deliverance of old from Egypt. And who got delivered out of Egypt? The Israelites. So only the Israelites can commemorate, being the Passover service, namely the men. Shouldn't be, it's a solemn assembly. Shouldn't be these other camps got women at the Passover service. All right, when Yahweh Shai, kept that solemn assembly before he got betrayed by Judas Iscariot and got sent up to those wicked priests. There were no women there, man. It's a very serious time. But you other Israelite camps, you got Pastor Troy. Pastor Troy is played out, man. Pastor Troy, he ain't been popping in Georgia for the past 20 years, and I've lived here for a minute. Pastor Troy, he ain't popping like that. But you got the ISUPK, they got him at the Passover. You got these other camps with the women with the head wraps going slap off. But anyways, it says the Paschal lamb, i.e. the lamb the Israelites were accustomed to slay and eat on the 14th day of the month of Nisan, the first month of their year, in memory of the day of which their fathers, preparing to depart from Egypt, were bidden by the Most High to slay and eat a lamb and sprinkled their door posts with his blood. Exodus 12, right? That the destroying angel is Yahweh Shai, seeing the blood might pass over their dwellings. Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, crucified, is likened to the slain Paschal lamb. Now, under the fourth category, it says the Paschal feast, the feast of the Passover, extending from the 14th day to the 20th day of the month Nisan. All right. So with that, Lord, when I was edifying, all right, when you come back to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, you're going to come back to the Passover. Okay. You're not going to go to bunnies laying eggs and going to church and believing Jesus got risen from the dead. It was Yahweh Shai. All right. So Lord, when I was edifying with that, I'm going to say shalom.